find out what's going on with these Grizzly Emerald auction. $19 million in sales. If you go to Mining Weekly, you can see these beautiful emeralds here, and they are spectacular. But they come out of the Zambia mine, and they are auctioned off in Dubai. That's where a lot of the people around the world that have a lot of money to spend on these luxuries, or actually they may be wheeling and dealing in the trade. So that's where these auctions can take place. Some fabulous gems can be purchased there. There was 112 of them, emerald lots, that is, that were sold. Yeah, the mine is in the region of the Copper Belt in the northern part of Zambia. This mine produces about 60 million carats a year, which is something spectacular. The auctions take place quarterly. Now, if you like gold, Fairbanks, Alaska in the United States is the place to go. Haley Lehman tells us here on the newsminer.com all about it. It's a short little story on how it all started. They have a picture here of the Bonanza mine. Boy, it looks like it's just at the edge of the world there, the way it is up on that mountain, some 6,983 feet in altitude, in part of the world that is just frozen all the time. There's a glacier there that is huge. It goes 4.5 miles, and it starts with an elevation gain total 3,800 foot up the mountain, just above the tree line, it seems like. So that's pretty spectacular. This was discovered in about 1902, the Fairbanks region, when Felix Pedro discovered gold in these hills that were near Fairbanks, and prospecting had begun about 1898 in gold hills north of Fairbanks, but all of this really took off in about 1902. So not all that long ago for mining history in the U.S., to be quite frank. But gold rush camps popped up, like the Golden, the Kantika, the Esther, the Cleary were also established, and pay streaks were extensive by 1904, producing half the gold in the Alaskan Territory by 1909. And then after about 10 years, it seemed like the richest ground had been mined up. But the First World War came. That World Wars always slowed down mining. But the Alaskan Railroad was completed in about 1923, and then the smelting and mining company brought ladders and dredges to Fairbanks, and they built a huge 90-mile ditch to provide water for gold dredging, and that went on from 1928 to 1965, except for when they closed down during World War II. Now, gold was only $20 at the time, and then in the 30s, when the United States government, for all intensive purposes, confiscated most all of the gold except for jewelry and certain rare coins, gold jumped. As soon as they paid everyone $20 an ounce, it jumped to about $35 an ounce, $34 an ounce. So the price of gold going up after the war made Fairbanks a great place to go after the Depression to try to make some money. Also, tungsten and tin were other minerals that were found around this area. The Fort Knox mine opened up in 1997, and this is about 25 miles north of Fairbanks, and they've produced more than 9 million ounces of gold, and they expect this to last until 2030, according to their website there, the Kinross website. Now, this, they say that there's a lot more gold to be found, and technology is picking up. So There could be more areas that open up as the price of gold climbs above $22,159 an ounce as the time of this writing. And Fairbanks has produced more than 18 million ounces of gold in the last 122 years, equivalent to 36% of all the gold that has ever been mined in Alaska. According to the Department of Natural Resources, Alaska produces 12% of the world's coal. I thought that was surprising. And the world, or excuse me, 12% of the world's coal. Wow, that's even more. 3.5% of the gold, 3% of the zinc, 1.2% of the lead, and 1.5% of the silver. So this is a part of the United States that is producing a lot of valuable minerals. The whole mineral industry totaled about $3.2 billion in 2020. So quite amazing. Yeah, this is amazing. So there's a lot of job opportunities in the mineral and mining area. Now this might be one that gets you excited if you're a Sesame Street lover. Kermit the Frog was discovered. He's an ancient amphibian species. Well, at least they named a species that they found after Kermit the Frog. According to Business Insider, Cameron Manley tells us all about this new amphibian, proto-amphibian that lived, they say, many millions of years ago. And this thing looks kind of like a frog, so they called it Kermit the Frog. It's a fossilized skull, and it is kind of oval shaped with socket eyes, and it was in the Smithsonian. Now, a lot of these fossil discoveries were in a drawer, and then they kind of go over them again. So they tout it as a new discovery, but it's really something that was in a drawer for a long time. And finally, they look at it and they say, "Oh, this is a wonderful discovery." But it resembles a giant toad and more than a frog. It has unique features. Part of the skull of the animal's eye sockets are much shorter, and it had an elongated snout, believing them to think this is a new species or a new type of like a salamander snout on some sort of a toad. So they're probably going to say that something evolved or whatever. They say it's a distant relative of today's amphibians, and Kermit is a modern day amphibian icon. The perfect name for it, they said. So pretty snappy name. No pictures of it here, which is kind of disappointing. Hopefully something will pop up in the next few weeks. All right, next, Mother's Day is coming up. So Rio Grande here reminded me that it was Mother's Day. There wasn't anything particular here that I was going to tell you about, but they do sell loose gemstones and lots of nice findings and things like that. Why not make something for your mother, or if your wife has kids, make something for her? And you could do a beading project. You could learn how to mount a stone. You could buy the findings, the silver pieces that you would need to do that, and buy calibrated stones. You could join a lapidary club if you don't have lapidary equipment, and they would be glad to teach you how to make a nice cabochon, and probably have a silversmithing class that you could go to. That would be really nice. And you could make a custom personalized jewelry for your mom. I made a real nice set of jewelry out of what's called lemon chrysoprase. It's kind of a green colored, actually. And I made earrings. I made a ring and a nice pendant for her. And I did all the silversmithing and all the lapidary. And she treasured that until the day she passed away. Now, if you want to go rock hunting in Lower Michigan, the Tech Advocate here at thetechadvocate.org, Matthew Lynch tells us about 10 great places to go in Lower Michigan. And you can just look in the picture here and just see, oh boy, look at that. There's a piece of carnelian right there. Looks like there's a few snappy little stones in there that would be nice to have. So here's the areas you can go. Very best beaches. The Podolsky Stone we talked about before. Lake Superior agates we've talked about before. Those are all awesome stones to get. Go back and look in our archives if you want to hear about some of those things. Also, our podcasts. I've got tons of podcasts. They're timeless because they have valuable information, not just news that goes away and dies and fades, but valuable information for rock hounding. So go through all those podcasts and all those videos. That stuff just never is timeless. It's timeless. It never goes out of style. Grand Haven City Beach. There's an abundant variety of stones here. Crinoids, those are fossils that are, the stems are, it's like an upside down umbrella. These were plants that lived in the ocean and were able to eat other creatures. And the umbrella part would engulf them and dissolve them and chew them up. It had a mouth at the bottom, and it would swallow that and feed itself. Crinoid stems and other fossilized remnants. The stems kind of look like coral in a way. If you don't know what you're looking at, you'll go, oh, is this coral? Maybe, maybe not. It might be crinoid stems. If you're in this area, that's what it is. Oval Beach. This area here is picturesque. It's beautiful. Lots of smooth stones. There's jasper and quartz. Point Beastie Beach. This is going to be north of Frankfort, and the waters make it easy to spot rocks there. There's usually not a lot of waves there unless the weather is inclement. You got pudding stone and colorful quartzite. Imperial Beach here. There's a nice little village there. And Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore is right there. Quiet Beach, lots of rock hunting, including the Leland Blue stones. We've talked about these two. Very, very beautiful, very rare. If you can find one of those, you'd be very fortunate. Also, Corona Park, I guess it's called. And that is a lovely stretch of beach where you can find some rocks that come off of a glacial coating or a glacial tilt. And there's slag remnants from old iron smelting operation and other rocks and minerals. The Muscon State Park, there's 2 state beaches on Lake Michigan, hotspots for finding the Podolsky stones and the Michigan State stone, and fossilized coral patterns are in these. And like I said, we've done some in-depth podcasts and videos on those. Elk Rapids Beach. Here you're going to find a famous greenstone known as the chlorostrodolite and even the exclusive Lake Superior agates. Duck Lake State Park Beach has got a gradual sloping landscape that goes into the Duck Lake Channel, and you're going to find fossils and coral stems and agates there. And then Christmas Cove Beach, this is a place where you are going to find some colorful Leland blues, possibly corals, and various striped agate varieties there. And Turner Beach Road, or Turner Road Beach, is close to Empire. Small and kind of secretive, but worth the visit. Less collectors there, and lots of variety of rocks to find there. So go check it out. Also, if you want to find euporites around these areas, look up our friend Eric Rentamaki at the original and certified euporite website. He does tours and everything else that is amazing. They glow under a fluorescent light, so it is a type of sodalite that can be found all over here too. Now, for our grand finale here, we will talk about Willow Creek Jasper. Now, this is a commercial site here, rockhoundingmaps.com, and you can go there and find out. The author here is Jared Morris. This Jasper is pretty exclusive, and it's hard to buy. When he puts it up for sale, it sells like really, really quick. and he's able to get a premium for it because of this. But Willow Creek Jasper is mined from Idaho, and it comes in many beautiful colors and patterns. You can see some of it right here in the browns, but there's other colors too that are available. And there's also Whiskey Creek Jasper that is very inclusive too. Now, it says here that Willow Creek Jasper forms in the centers of giant thunder eggs, some as large as 10 feet in diameter. Those have got to be rare. They have to be cut open, and not all eggs contain the prize in the center. Only about 7 out of 8 thunder eggs have jasper within them. It is a porcelain jasper, has pastel colors, browns, greens, pinks, squiggly line patterns, and occasionally orb patterns. And you can compare this to other fine jasper varieties such as porcelain jasper. As we just said, it is a lot like that. There's not a lot of imperfections or impurities in it, and it is quite beautiful. This type of jasper is formed with chalcedony and iron, and its high silica content makes it very hard, about 7 on the Mohs hardness scale. And then there is a mine here, and it is in Eagle, Idaho, and it has been producing jasper for over 40 years. It's owned by Larry Ridley, and he started rock hounding there. And you would have to look into, I don't know that they will allow you to prospect there, but they do sell the jasper here on this website, rockhoundingmaps.com. It's pretty expensive. An 8-ounce slab is $25. Of course, any nice jasper that's already cut in a slab is going to cost you a few bucks. I mean, even if you go to the Rock and Gem show, you'd be, very blessed if you could buy cut slabs for a few dollars a pound. So this is half a pound here for $25. Pretty expensive, but if you've got nodules here, and it says sellers with fine nodules that are polished and cut nicely sometimes charge up to $150 for something similar in size. So, yeah, I don't know how much if he has these nodules for sale, but you could definitely contact him here and find out about it. They also have cabochons that are available. I'm sure these are going to be, a bit more expensive, and some of the nice stuff for sure with the really cool patterns is going to be more expensive. So anyway, that is it for now. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm working really hard to try and get more content out there, and been having a lot of technical difficulties. I'm trying to work through that, so I appreciate you guys' patience with me. Until next time, remember, rockhounds don't die, we petrify.